Unity of the Huachucas presents Reverend Charli Tupper.
Sizzling Faith.
I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm as I spring forth with a mighty faith to do that which is mine to do. When I hear this statement, I think of someone who is in their prime and really young, and they're just like, I'm just gonna spring forth and do that which is mine to do. And yet, this is one of the most popular quotes by Charles Fillmore. And he said it when he was 92 years old. I don't see him skipping and jumping when he's 92 years old. So what did he mean? I took the word sizzle because it's kind of a different word. It's not a common word that we would use today. We might use the word hot, but we wouldn't necessarily use the word sizzle. And when I refer to something that's hot, I refer to something that's dynamic and going the way that we want it to. I'm on fire. Now mix that with zeal and enthusiasm. Zeal is another word that we might not use today. We don't usually walk around saying, wow, I've just got a lot of zeal today. Or I'm a zealot for. A zealot, the meaning is, I am committed to bringing about that for which I have zeal and enthusiasm. It is a person who is fanatical and uncompromising in pursuit of their religious, political, or other ideals. I don't know about you, but I don't think Charles Fillmore as fanatical and uncompromising. But there is a word, an energy that I think Charles Fillmore was trying to relay, and that word is joy. What does it mean to live with joy? True joy that is not dependent on outer circumstances, but an inner awareness of the truth of who we are. Unity author Charles Roth says it this way: joy is an emotion, and emotions are the dynamos of the soul. The emotion of joy ventilates the cells of the body, drives out impurities, and restores wholeness and health. Joy magnetizes me and attracts particles of God's substance to form the perfect answer to my needs and my soul's desires. The emotion of joy clears the mist from my mind, and I intuitively know the right answer, the right way. My joy's response to the touch of God's Spirit on my spirit releases energy that strengthens, inspiration that uplifts, and love that heals and comforts. Wow. Take that in for a moment. Wow. That's pretty amazing. That joy does all that. It opens us up to and activates our cells in our bodies. It makes us alive. It heals us. And it draws to us, it magnetizes to us all that we need, all that our soul desires. At the age of 92, when Fillmore said, I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm. I believe he was talking about an inner sizzle, a sizzle that was the joy of the Lord, that was the guiding light throughout his life. In the Psalms, David says, "The joy of the Lord is my strength." Could this joy be not a feeling we have when we get something we want, but the knowing that God is all there is and everything is unfolding exactly as it should? So how do I get this joy? I don't know about you, but how do I get this joy? This enthusiasm for life? Everything seems to be so hard these days. I hear from people, I have health challenges. I have limited finances. I don't get around like I used to. I can't see a way out of this situation, or I see only one way out of this situation. Joy is a recognition of divine light, radiating within both our hearts and minds, joined together in harmony. Let me say that again. Joy is a recognition of divine light, radiating within both our hearts and minds, joined together in harmony. We cannot be joyful and think thoughts of retribution or negativity. We are joyful when our hearts and minds are open to the guidance of new ideas. Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you asked, what is God's vision for this situation? I know that when I have asked that question in the past, some people have become afraid. What is God's vision? Might not be my vision. Am I willing to release my personal hold on how a situation might turn out and trust that God, the good, all power, all love, all wisdom, only has our best in mind and would never have a vision for us that is not in alignment with our souls? Can we let go and let God be God? Not just out the God of the universe, but of our personal lives. People often ask me why I moved to Arizona or what brought me to Arizona. So I'm going to share with you a little story. My husband was an amateur astronomer, and he and a friend were invited to go to the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon once a year has a week where they offer amateur astronomers to come, and they can stay at the Grand Canyon for free for the week, as long as they set up their telescopes at certain times, and people can walk around and they will tell people what the telescope is pointed at, what they can see through the telescope, because the skies are so pure up there and you can see so much more. And so it's this great week of people exploring the skies. And so he and his friend left the Grand Canyon. They went into Flagstaff to just get away from the Grand Canyon for a little bit. And Dennis fell in love. So he comes home, and we were living on the Northern California coast at the time. And it's cold. It's foggy. Oh, and did I say it was cold? Now it's August, but it's cold because the fog that comes in off that northern coast comes down from the Arctic, and it's really cold. So he comes home and he says, I could move to Arizona. And I laughed and I said, you would not want to say that to me twice today. because my bags will be on the front porch. No, and let's go. And he said, no, really, I'm serious. And there was a resonance there for some reason. And I was like, that's interesting. And I began to check it out. I began to check out where we might end up. I knew I didn't want to live in the valley. Way too hot. I know what hot desert is, and I didn't want to live in the valley. And so I saw this town, Prescott, and this town, Payson, and they were on kind of opposite sides of the valley, but both in the mountains, and they both looked really inviting to me. So I had to take a business trip, and I'm driving down the freeway, down 17, and I am looking out at this dry, brown desert. I mean, it is dry and it is brown. And I said, God, I am sorry, but this is the ugliest place I have ever seen. Can we renegotiate? And every cell in my being resonated and said, no. And oh, okay, I guess I'm moving to Arizona. I had no idea why I was moving to Arizona. Why on earth would I want to move to Arizona? I didn't have family here. I didn't have a job here. Why would I want to move to Arizona? Within a couple of weeks after moving to Arizona, which happened really quickly, to Prescott, and so many things were just synchronistic about how that all came about and how everything happened. But within a couple of weeks, I started hearing about unity. And I said, okay, God, I'll check it out. But if there's anything negative, I'm out of there. Because you see, I was wounded. I was wounded from hearing how unworthy I am, from hearing how if I didn't behave perfectly, I would go to hell. And so I said, if anything's negative, I'm out. And I came and I stayed. And the reason that I stayed was because it was a group of people who were on a spiritual path, not because they were bad, but because they were getting in touch with and getting to know and to really explore and expand their own consciousness. That indwelling idea, Christ idea that lives within each and every one of us. For me, that's the important piece. I surrendered without having a clue of what was in store for me. I could not have dreamed up where I would be today, what I would be doing, the people that I would have in my life. I couldn't have imagined it. the true joy I know as I continue to surrender to that calling. Charles Roth, who wrote the quote that I said earlier, has a meditation, and I would really like to share this meditation with you. I think this is a very powerful, powerful meditation. And so I just invite you to sit in your chair, put everything aside. And he says, who or what is this Christ within? One must have some concept what he means when he uses the term Christ within in order to make the connection between heart and head so necessary in effective meditation. It isn't enough to just parrot a suggested statement, feeling it must be sort of magical effect. The Christ is not a person. The Christ is not a sanctified space, some place inside of you. The Christ is an idea. An idea is not a person. It doesn't take up any space. The Christ is the idea of man in universal mind. You are an expression of that idea. The idea has within it the power of freedom of choice. Therefore, you have the power of the freedom of choice. It is the right use or the wrong use of that power that determines to what degree the perfect idea of man, the Christ within, become manifest through you. And now, after those thoughts, let us go into meditation to help you relax and become centered within. Repeat the following phrases silently after me. I feel very quiet. I feel very quiet. I am beginning to feel quite relaxed. I am beginning to feel quite relaxed. My entire body feels quiet, relaxed, and comfortable. My entire body feels quiet, relaxed, and comfortable. My mind is calm and quiet. My mind is calm and quiet. I am alert, but in an easy, quiet, turned way, inward turned way. Let me say that again. I am alert, but in an easy, quiet, inward turned way. I am alert, but in an easy, quiet, inward turned way. And now, let the idea of light quietly fill your mind. Perhaps you might start by seeing the word light. L-I-G-H-T, spelled out in capital letters in front of your closed eyes. Then gradually let the letters, emblazoned across the velvet sky of your consciousness, burst into tiny darts of light that permeate every farthest reach of your being. And then affirm softly, I am filled with light and peace. I am filled with light and peace. Christ within me assures me of wisdom to make right decisions. Christ within me assures me of wisdom to make right decisions. All sure guidance comes from within. How are we to know with our puny little intellects which is the right action to take? But we have access to a pool of his wisdom. We have access to infinite wisdom when we make that connection in mind, in prayer. I am filled with light and peace. Christ within me assures me of wisdom to make right decisions. Thus, in meditation, you prepare yourself so that during the day, today or tomorrow, the following day, when there's a decision to be made, it is automatically will come bubbling up into your mind the right thing to do or to say. Take a few moments and just bask in that inner light. Now feel a fountain of life and strength welling up from deep within you, filling and thrilling you with energy and vitality. As we contemplate the silent unity healing statement, I am filled with life and strength. Christ within me is healing and perfecting me now. I am filled with life and strength. Christ within me is healing and perfecting me now. Again, feel that fountain of life and strength welling up from deep within you. filling and thrilling you with energy and vitality. I am filled with life and strength. Christ within me is healing and perfecting me now. Let it happen. Let go, let God do his perfect healing work in and through you. And now we turn to the prosperity statement. If there is any pocket of fear of lack or fear of insufficient supply in your consciousness, it is washed away as you quietly and calmly affirm, I am filled with faith and confidence. Christ within me assures me of supply for every need. I am filled with faith and confidence. Christ within me assures me of every supply and need. And now in your meditation, feel that it's raining gold dust all around you. Gold dust is kind of an imagery symbol for substance, the substance of God. Raining gold dust in your consciousness, your supply. God is the source of your supply. I am filled with faith and confidence. Christ within me assures me of supply for every need. And now, no matter what it is that faces you at this time and this place in your unfoldment, you made it calmly and successfully as you affirm, I am filled with faith and courage. Christ within me assures me of victory in all life circumstances. I am filled with faith and courage. I am grateful. And now, as we come to the close of our time of meditation, think of those that you wish to bless, your loved ones and friends. And for them, we say, the light of God surrounds you. The love of God enfolds you. The power of God protects you. And the presence of God watches over you. Wherever you are, God is. The Christ within, God's idea of perfect man implanted in your soul from the beginning, is filling you with new sense of worth, of mastery, of purpose. You are grateful. Amen.